most people with hepatitis C require public support to pay for their medication, which at the moment is the case. A vast majority of treatment in Canada at the moment for hepatitis C occurs through public payer systems. Then, when we restrict to just covering people with advancing liver disease, people with early liver disease cannot get treatment. And therefore, there is a significant restriction in who we can treat with hepatitis C right now in Canada based on fibrosis-based eligibility requirements. And we do know that that is not a scientifically or medically based strategy. The strategy for preventing the most disease and the most complication and the most lack of work productivity is to treat people as soon as they are screened and diagnosed with hepatitis C. So, right now, having a difficulty with eligibility being based on liver scarring, is a problem for access, and I would say it is one of the biggest problems for access outside having community-based providers and enhanced screening.
I think there's two access and follow-up issues here. There's one waiting for treatment, and I think there's a lot of red tape and rigmarole that goes through with trying to find the funding to cover. So for me, it was an 8-month wait from the time that my doctor and I decided that we would go with Harvoni to her actually lobbying and advocating on my behalf with my private health care provider and the province to get my drugs covered. So it was an 8-month back and forth letter and review process and appeal process to get that going. But there's also the issue of the follow-up care, that after I finished taking the 12 weeks of Harvoni, other than the wonderful phone call to say that I had been cleared, there's never been any follow-up. And just through other clinicians and people that are more familiar with the potential for other things to arise, I actually thought I was cured. But when I looked into it, I still carry the antibodies, and there are potential higher risks for possibly a liver cancer and things that we don't know about at this point.
Limitations on access are a challenge. They're a huge challenge. And, I don't want to oversimplify it and say that everybody should and needs to be treated tomorrow with hepatitis C. Sure, I would love it if we could treat everyone tomorrow, but even if the drugs were very inexpensive, it would be difficult to do, to have all the medical infrastructure, to have people getting into the places they need to get to receive that care. It's not just the prices of the drugs, but there's no question that if this was another disease, we wouldn't be having this discussion. If this was cancer, we would be treating everybody. We would not be waiting for them to get sicker to access treatment. The reason that it doesn't happen is, sadly, again, it's about the populations that this disease affects, that they tend to be marginalized populations, so a large percentage of people who have a history or continue to use drugs, as well as often people who are born outside of Canada, who may not speak the language, come from different cultures, may have stigma associated with their disease, and they don't have a strong political voice. So unlike what was done in the HIV world, where it really was amazing political activism among the HIV community, that just kept knocking on the door until someone opened the door and made access a priority. That has been hard to mobilize the community in hepatitis C in the same way. And unfortunately, I think it's been hard to engage politicians about finding the money to treat everybody. People have focused on the cost of the therapy, and that unfortunately has drowned out the medical miracle that is what these treatments are. And that is sad that people have focused on that. I'm not justifying the costs at all. They're too high. But even with these costs, treating everyone with hepatitis C is a highly cost-effective thing to do, and we should be doing it.